There's so much to talk about this Monday morning, but before we jump into all of it, Tom, just want to get your thoughts on what we are seeing with retail trading as we do come into a big week with Nvidia earnings.
Sure, and it's been actually the markets have been pretty good. You really did name the top five, and of the three individual equities, Tesla, Micron, and Nvidia. You've seen an incredible amount of action in the derivatives market on all of those. So I think that's a pretty fair list. It's been choppy, so I can't say much more than that. But you've seen most of the retail activity has focused on those three names, no question about it.
Stephanie, I want to get your thoughts on this, especially since even as the S&P has been range bound, there's been so much volatility under the hood. Is Nvidia going to be the thing that matters for the markets this week, or is it going to be some of these software names like Salesforce, like Workday, like Snowflake after the downdrafts we've seen?
Yeah, well, certainly Nvidia is front and center. I do think the quarter is going to be good. The management has been showcasing all quarter long that things are good, that money is being spent. They can't keep up with the demand, and that the supply chains have actually improved, which is a good thing. The good news, Morgan, is that the stock has done nothing, really. It's been kind of sideways for a while. It's only up 2% year to date. And so the expectations are low. What's more important in my mind, excuse me, rather than just Nvidia, because it's important, but it's going to be the whole food chain. The food chain you know very well. It is not only AI, but it's data center, it's the grid, and it's power. And we know that the industrial companies that have reported so far, like GE Vernova, Quanta Services, all have reported blockbuster numbers with blockbuster orders. So for that trade to continue, Nvidia better be good, and I think it will be.
Jimmy, we've asked the questions, the investor questions around AI, but now it seems the political questions around AI are percolating as well, especially as there's going to be a big focus this week with State of the Union on affordability.
Yeah, affordability is a huge issue. So I imagine they're going to talk about what their housing plans are. But it would not surprise me if AI makes it into the State of the Union. And if it doesn't, it will be the last State of the Union in which we don't talk about AI. Already you have some potential 2028 candidates talking about AI, generally very critical. And I mean, that's of some concern to me, not just about the data center issue, which I think is going to be ongoing. But I think as these concerns, and somewhat fueled by these CEO predictions about all our jobs are going to be automated in 18 months, I think you're going to see this a much bigger issue going forward. And it actually could give some momentum to the idea of some actual AI regulations, something that never really happened during the social media wars, but could happen this time around.
Jimmy, you just mentioned housing. What else are you watching going into this address tomorrow night, especially as we did see all of this? We are seeing all of this tariff policy evolve here and shake out in real time.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to talk about. Listen, the president's his two core issues here are both sort of deeply unpopular. One, that's trade policy, and one is immigration. I mean, sticking with trade for a moment, the president needs to make the case why these tariffs are good. And there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. I think it's actually underplayed how much uncertainty going forward is going to happen with these tariffs. The new 15% tariff under Section 122 of the 1974 Trade Act, I'm not sure that's actually legal. There'll be litigation there. If the president tries to renew it after 150 days, that could be more litigation. So I think the president needs to sort of refocus the American public to the extent he can why his core economic policy actually makes sense.
I mean, we've seen risk off in the markets here, Tom, and I realize I'm saying that even as we're actually off the lows in U.S. stock futures this morning. And we're seeing Bitcoin start to move back off the lows after dipping below 65,000 yesterday. But in general, is it still safe to say that we're past peak tariff talk?
I mean, you can say it. There's no question that this is nothing like last April. So we're in a new era right now where in 2026, I think the tariff talk is just doesn't move the market as much as it used to. I think people just kind of suck it up and just take it as a it's kind of just normal chatter right now. So as a trader, I don't pay any attention to the tariff talk. I pay more attention to, what happens in individual equities and what happens, in different commodities and things like that, like gold and silver, and to a certain extent, Bitcoin and things along that line. I don't think the market right now, given where volatility is and given the way every single sell-off has been met with buying, and you saw the same thing last night in the overnight session. At one point, we were down over 50 handles, and now it's down, just about 15 handles. I think that there's been buying met at just about every level. So it seems more like just like two-sided nothing more than it is markets concerned about anything.